Hello everyone, it's me, Luigi Roxel 7, with a very special video today. That's right. To those of you who do not know, today here in North America, it is the 30th anniversary of Donkey Kong Country 1 on the Super Nintendo. Also, I like how my completed file is like in the middle. Anyway. Yes, it is the 30th anniversary of Donkey Kong Country, the series, as well as the very first game, back in 1994. So I just thought, you know what, I just wanted to talk about, similar to how I did with Tropical Freeze back in early in the year, in February, I just want to talk about the series and all the games, and I'll kind of just like go through, you know, like, you can go see Cranky here. He always gives you like tips and stuff and all the games he's in. At least the first two games. Ow, ow, ow. Ow, ow, ow. Can't do that. Anyway. Yeah. So 30th anniversary, man. It's you know, it's interesting, there's really only 5 games. Do. 5 games. Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, 3. Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii, and then Tropical Freeze on the Wii U. 1 live and 3 lives and continue. That's all we had. Yeah, he gives little hints and stuff. Anyway, yeah. What can I say about the series that thousands of people have already said? You know, I'm just gonna give my my thoughts. Just my experience with the series, and yeah, you know, like you all know, like, hey, I'm like the Mario guy, right? Like Mario, Luigi stuff, Mario Party, Mario Kart, Luigi's Mansion, you know, Mario Golf. That's one of my favorite spin-offs of the Mario series. You know, like Mario Baseball, other things like that, you know, sports games, you know, I didn't mention tennis, the Mario and Sonic Olympic games, like, that's me, right? I'm the Mario guy, right? Well, Donkey Kong Country is actually one of my favorite, like, okay, so the Donkey Kong Country universe is inside the Mario universe, right? Duh. It's just in its own, like, section, you know, like the different countries in the world and the continents of our world, you know, it's just like that. The Mushroom Kingdom, Mario and Luigi, Peach, Bowser, the Toads, Yoshi, Wario, Waluigi, Daisy, Toadsworth, all those other characters, you know, they're in the Mushroom Kingdom, right? Well, Donkey Kong Country, like, more so like, you know, the DKC1 to DKC trilogy from Rare, and then Tropical Freeze and Returns. Donkey Kong 64 is in there too, but like, that's more of a 3D game, not a 2D game. But yeah, you know, it's just like, check out Funky. Another fan favorite character who has been first introduced in this game. You can visit like other worlds and stuff, which is cool. But yeah, you know. So yeah, what's interesting, I'll just kind of go through other worlds and just kind of like, let's go see Candy Kong. She was another, you know, I wouldn't say she's a favorite, but like another, you know, I shouldn't say mainstay. She's really just DK's girlfriend. That's all she really is, which is kind of a sad. She's still a cool character, but you know, stuff like that. But yeah, like, what's interesting is I actually didn't grow up with this game. Funny enough, I grew up with Donkey Kong 64. And funny enough, I didn't grow up with Diddy Kong Racing either. Donkey Kong 64 was my childhood game, you know? And yeah, it's just like I didn't play Donkey Kong Country. Actually, funny enough, I played the GBA versions that came out in like the early 2000s. That's my exposure with the Donkey Kong Country series. Like, I knew about these games as a kid, but I didn't have a Super Nintendo, right? And a good friend of mine, he had a Super Nintendo. He's one of my friends. He's older than me by a couple years. He had the Super Nintendo back in the day, and I guess he still has it. I'm not positive on that though. He probably does. Anyway, I do remember seeing him play this game, you know, and I really didn't know. I mean, like I knew like I knew the character Donkey Kong because of Donkey Kong 64, the first Super Smash Brothers, games like that. But like I really didn't know the Donkey Kong Country series that much until like years later. Now again, I didn't know about the games briefly as a kid, but I really didn't play them until like I said years later, and then Funky's theme is just bizarre in this game. It's catchy as hell though. This whole soundtrack is phenomenal. I'll even enter at level for a minute, just kind of. But like, yeah, I really didn't play this game as a kid, And of course, people talk about like, the graphics and like you had to be there back in the day, This game does look really good for a Super Nintendo game, stuff like that. Like that boom noise when like DK lands. Anyway. But yeah, it's just like this game really does like hold up really well. And then of course the second game came out in a year later in 1995 and improved upon it. Dixie Kong was introduced. She's another fan favorite. Swanky Kong, he was introduced in DKC2. You barely even see that guy anymore at all. And then DKC3, which was another, like, people say it's the black sheep of at least the trilogy. And I'm like, it's a weird game, but it's like, it's still good. You know what I mean? And then, Donkey Kong 64, the one that I was raised on, came out. And if you guys probably know this, Rareware, they're just known as Rare nowadays. And I've always been a fan of Kremkrock Industries. Like just the world, like it's like this polluted like factory world. The Kremlings are working here. Like what? Yeah, the water levels, aquatic ambience. It's such a iconic song. Oh, by the way, if you guys have a Nintendo subscription, basic or expansion pack, this soundtrack is on the Nintendo app, the music app, if you guys want to listen to it. Like outside of my video or, outside of games. It's on, the soundtrack is on YouTube as well, but, But yeah, so like, yeah, I mean, I wish I could play with one hand. I can't do that though. But yeah, so after DK64 came out, then, Rare was bought by Microsoft in 2002, and that really took a huge... People didn't realize it then, but even Nintendo themselves didn't realize it, but the Donkey Kong Country brand, just the DK series in general, took a massive nosedive in quality through the GameCube and the GBA and the DS. Yeah, Rare did remake the DKC trilogy for their Game Boy Advance, like as I said. Diddy Kong Racing got a remake on the DS. If you want to call it a remake or not, that's up for debate, And then there were some other DK spinoffs in the Game Boy Advance and DS, like was it DK King of Swing and DK Jungle Climber. I think those are the name of the games. Donkey Konga on the GameCube, like stuff like that. There was also Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. I didn't play that game either. So there were a lot of DK games I didn't play, but you know. And then I remember back in 2010, it was Donkey Kong Country Returns was announced at E3 2010. Boy, I was excited. I was like, holy crap, a new Donkey Kong Country game? Made by Retro Studios of all companies who did Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3. Like, holy cow, dude. That's awesome. And then, of course, you know, the rest is history. Tropical Freeze came out a couple years later. I remember that trailer, and people were, like, really upset that it wasn't like a new Metroid game, or it wasn't like, oh, where's Cranky? I want to visit Cranky again. Is Cranky not in? Oh, there he is. It's like, is he not in this? He's in every world, duh. But yeah. So like, Tropical Freeze is honestly one of the best games I've ever played. I've talked about it before already. And of course, since it was on the Wii U, it didn't sell very well, right? And then the Nintendo brought it to the Switch, and I guess Retro Studios. They also, I think Retro Studios also did the Switch port, which makes sense. Which doesn't really add much. Which the only stuff that it adds was Funky Kong as a playable character, which is cool. And that's it, really. I mean, there was some smaller game like Donkey Kong Land. Oh, that's another thing. Nintendo just added Donkey Kong Land to the Switch Online. I'm like, that's really cool, dude. Nintendo actually remembers the 30th anniversary of DKC. Like, holy cow, dude. So, yeah. And that's where and now we're up to today. Tropical Freeze was ported to the Switch, like I said already, in 2018. I'm glad. That game is phenomenal. I've already talked about it before. And of course, we're getting Returns HD in like 2 months. In January. So I'm like, okay, you know, at least Nintendo remembers the DK brand. And also the Super Nintendo World. I was going to make a video on that. I forgot. But the Super Nintendo World is getting the Donkey Kong Country expansion pack in, you know, Japan next month. I'm like, that's really cool. A Cranky Kong and a Squawks animatronic. I'm like, the minecart ride. Oh, it just looks so cool, man. I gotta go to Super Nintendo World. Let's seal that stuff. It's just so cool, man. But yeah, that's where we are today, you know. That's where we are today. So the DK series doesn't have as many games as the Mario or Zelda, you know, stuff like that. But I think it's safe to say that, hiya. I'm gonna play the intro one more time. Anyway, I'm basically done with the video, guys. So yeah, as I was just saying, you know, Mario and Zelda and Pokemon and Kirby have so many more games than the Donkey Kong Country series or the DK series. But it's definitely an influential game that lots of people love, including myself. And I'm glad years later I played these games, their original versions, on the Super Nintendo. Like the Super Nintendo versions, you know. Such a phenomenal series. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about it and give you guys my thoughts. And just, I love this series. I really do love this series. I really do love this series. Anyway. So let me know what you guys think. Have you guys played any of the Donkey Kong Country games? And if you have, share me your thoughts. Like I said, I didn't grow up with these games. I grew up with Donkey Kong 64, and then years later I got Returns on release, I got Tropical Freeze on release when those games came out, and yeah, so it's definitely one of more favorite series besides like the Mario, Mario, Super Mario, Mario Party, Mario Kart, sports games, all that, all the Mario sports spin-offs, Smash Brothers, all that stuff. Donkey Kong Country is definitely one of my favorite series, and I'm hoping we're gonna get a new game in the next, couple of years for the Switch successor or whatever. So anyway, thank you all for watching, listening. Sorry, I wish I could play with one hand, but I can't do that. You guys know the drill by now, so. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of Donkey Kong Country, and if you guys are going to play any of the games for the 30th anniversary. Anyway, with that all out of the way, thank you guys for watching and listening. Hope you guys have a great... I wanted to get this video out before Thanksgiving next week, because I'm going to be busy, of course. And sound off in the comments below what you think about Donkey Kong Country and all that other good stuff. And I will see you guys in my next video. Luigi Rocks 07, out.